I signed away the last shred of my soul that Tuesday afternoon, watching ink bleed across the mortgage statement like it was my own blood on the page. 27 months of double shifts at the hospital, skipping vacations, hell, even my own goddamn birthday dinners to cover the payments, gone in a flourish of my sister's manicured signature. And there they were, Mom and Dad, beaming like they'd just won the lottery, handing over the keys to the house I'd rebuilt from their foreclosure nightmare, while I stood there, the invisible pillar, holding it all up. It wasn't just the house. It was the lie they'd all swallowed whole, that I was the screw-up, the one who owed them for every scraped knee and college rejection letter. Emily, my baby sister by 5 years, the golden girl with her Ivy League polish and tech startup glow, had waltzed back into town after a decade in Silicon Valley, all smiles and venture capital buzzwords, and suddenly I was the villain in my own family script. Claire's always been so independent. Mom cooed that morning over coffee, her arthritic hands trembling on her mug. Emily needs this fresh start. You understand, don't you, honey? Understand? I'd understood since I was 16, when Dad's construction business tanked in the '08 crash, and I dropped out of community college to sling burgers and later scrub bedpans so we wouldn't lose the roof over our heads. Emily, she was off at some fancy prep school scholarship, texting me selfies from parties while I wired her tuition scraps from my tips. I'd covered for her then, too. Forged that essay for her Yale app, the one about overcoming adversity that painted her as the plucky survivor of our modest life. Modest. That's code for me eating ramen so she could have organic kale smoothies. By the time the notary stamped the transfer, the air in the lawyer's office on Elm Street smelled like stale defeat and Emily's Chanel No. 5. She hugged me then, all performative tears and whispers of, "We'll make it right, sis. Promise." Her eyes, though, those sharp, calculating blues, didn't match the script. They flicked to the exit, already plotting her next move. Dad clapped me on the back, muttering something about family first, as if I hadn't been the one wiring $1,800 a month from my RN salary while they golfed in Florida on my dime. Mom just patted my hand, her wedding ring, the one I'd pawned my first car to replace after she lost it, catching the fluorescent light like a cruel joke. I drove home in the rust bucket Civic I'd bought used after selling my motorcycle to cover their property taxes last winter. Home. What a joke. My home was a one-bedroom walk-up in the shadow of the old steel mill, rent creeping up like everything else in this rusting corner of Ohio. The radio droned some NPR segment on intergenerational wealth gaps, and I laughed, a bitter, barking sound that echoed off the dashboard. Wealth gaps. Try sibling Grand Canyons. That night, I cracked open the bottle of bourbon I'd stashed for emergencies, the good stuff from a patient who'd tipped big after I pulled his wife through sepsis. One glass turned to 3, and the memories hit like bad morphine. Emily at 18, calling me from a dorm payphone, voice slurred with vodka and panic. "Claire, I fucked up. Big time. There's this guy, Professor, and he says if I don't." I'd driven 8 hours through a blizzard to bail her out, paid off the creep with my savings, and buried the whole mess under NDAs and a fake internship story. She graduated top of her class, launched her app that disrupted meal delivery for the elite, while I mopped up the fallout, therapy sessions I couldn't afford, nightmares of what-ifs that kept me up wiring payments till dawn. By midnight, the plan crystallized, sharp as a scalpel. Not some Lifetime movie revenge where I key her Beamer or sleep with her boyfriend. No, that was too small, too petty for the hole she'd carved in me. This would be surgical, layered, the kind of unraveling that leaves you questioning if you ever knew the patient at all. I pulled out the old family ledger, the one Dad kept in his desk before dementia started nibbling the edges. Pages yellowed with my chicken scratch notes. Claire, $500 extra, roof repair. Flipping back, there it was. Entries in Emily's looping script, dated years ago, siphoning loans from the house fund I'd seeded. She'd been skimming from the start, playing the prodigal while I played the fool. I texted her at 2 a.m., casual as Midwest humidity. "Congrats on the house. Dinner tomorrow? My treat." Her reply pinged back in seconds. "OMG, yes. Love you, big sis. House with garden, red heart, love." The word twisted in my gut like a bad four-line. By sunrise, I'd emailed my shift supervisor, requested a week off, unpaid. Time to dig up the graves we'd all pretended weren't there. The next day, Cleveland hummed with that false autumn crispness, leaves turning gold like they gave a damn about renewal. I met Emily at the Anchor, that waterfront dive where steelworkers used to drown their layoffs, now gentrified into craft IPAs and charcuterie for tech bros like her fiancé, Chad. She breezed in late, all Lululemon and effortless waves, air kissing my cheeks like we were sorority sisters, not survivors of the same sinking ship. Claire Bear, you look tired. Rough shift. She slid into the booth, scanning the menu with that predatory efficiency, like every choice was a pitch deck. I forced a smile, the one I'd practiced in the mirror, warm, but with edges. Something like that. But hey, to new beginnings. We clinked glasses, hers a rose spritz, mine straight rye. Small talk flowed easy at first. Her latest funding round, Chad's promotion at the firm, Mom's hip replacement I'd scheduled and paid the copay for. Then I steered it, gentle as a vein tap. So the house. Feels surreal, right? Like Dad's ghost is high-fiving you from the attic. Her laugh tinkled, but her fingers tightened on the stem. God, yeah. It's bittersweet. I mean, you did so much. But they said it was time to balance the scales. Remember that summer I crashed on your couch after the breakup? You saved me then. Saved her. From what? The credit card debt she'd racked up on designer bags while I budgeted ramen? Or the deeper cut, the affair with her married boss that tanked her first startup, the one I'd cleaned up by ghostwriting apology emails and shredding incriminating texts? Yeah, I said, voice steady. I remember. As the sun dipped behind the lake freighters, shadows lengthening like accusations, I dropped the first thread. Found something funny in Dad's old files. Entries from 15. Looks like you fronted some cash for the Reno. Weird, 'cause I thought that was all me. Her fork paused midair, salmon flaking like her composure. Oh, that? Must be a mix-up. Chad and I were flush then. Anyway, I leaned in, eyes locked. No mix-up, M. $12,000. Wired from your account. To the house fund. Before you even visited in years. The waiters circled, oblivious. Outside, gulls screamed over the polluted waves. She recovered fast, that Silicon Valley pivot. Charm offensive dialed to 11. Sis, you're stressed. Let's not do this. Family, right? Family. The word hung there, a noose disguised as a hug. I let it dangle, paid the bill with the card maxed from last month's mortgage, and walked her to her car. Think about it, I murmured, handing her a flash drive, innocent-looking, loaded with scanned ledgers. For old time's sake. She pocketed it with a nod, but I saw the flicker, the calculation, the flip. By the time I hit my apartment, she'd texted. We good? Love you. Followed by a voice note, her voice syrup-sweet. Claire, whatever you're thinking, stop. It's done. Done? Oh, honey, we were just warming up. That week blurred into reconnaissance, the kind that itches under your skin like untreated eczema. I called in favors from the old mill crowd, guys who'd known Dad, owed me for nursing their wives through chemo. Claire? Yeah, I can poke around county records. Off books. By Friday, I had printouts. Liens Emily had quietly filed against the house 2 years back, during her rough patch after Chad's wandering eye. She'd leveraged it for a bridge loan on her app, the one that scaled, while I scaled back my life to keep the lights on. Mom called Sunday, voice quavering over the line from their assisted living condo in Sarasota, my down payment, naturally. Claire, Emily says you're upset about the house. We didn't mean to hurt you, pumpkin. It's just, she promised to bring you down for visits. And your father, he always said you were the strong one. Strong one. Code for disposable. I bit back the retort, promised a holiday card instead. Hung up and drove to the old homestead under cover of dusk, the one now Emily's kingdom. Lights blazed from every window, Chad's Tesla gleaming in the drive like a chrome insult. I parked a block away, hood up against the chill, and watched. They emerged at 8, dressed for gala, her in emerald silk that screamed, I arrived. Him in a tux that cost more than my yearly rent. Limo pulled up, they air-kissed neighbors, oblivious to the ghost in the azaleas. My phone buzzed, anonymous tip line confirmation. I'd filed it that morning. Suspected mortgage fraud, 1427, Oakwood Lane. Nothing flashy, just enough to trigger an audit. Let the feds nibble at her edges while I carved deeper. Monday brought the storm, literal and otherwise. Rain lashed Cleveland like God's own grudge, flooding basements and canceling shifts. Mine included, leaving me free to tail Emily to her co-working space downtown, That glass tower of innovation where baristas served $8 lattes to dreamers who'd never punched a clock. She huddled under an umbrella, laughing into her phone, probably pitching to VCs. I slipped in behind, badge from a defunct conference dangling like cred, and sweet-talked the receptionist into a forgotten laptop, peek at the logs. Her office, minimalist hell, whiteboard scrawled with pivot or perish, a photo of us kids on the shelf, me pushing her on a swing, faded and framed like a trophy. In the desk drawer, buried under power bars, a burner phone, screen cracked but alive. Text from Eagle, our code for Dad's old poker buddy, the one who'd co-signed the house back when. Payment cleared. Keep her in dark. Her. Me. The pieces slotted. Emily hadn't just skimmed. She'd orchestrated. Convinced Mom and Dad I was unstable. Late nights at work read as burnout. My single status as avoidant. Fed them stories of my reckless spending while she funneled their social security into her ventures. The house gift? A firewall. Transfer assets before I could sue, before the audit hit. I pocketed a screenshot, time-stamped proof, and ghosted out, rain soaking my scrubs. Back home, bourbon waiting, I mapped phase 2, the confrontation. Not fists or screams, but mirrors. Force her to see the reflection she'd shattered. Wednesday, I showed at the house unannounced. Pie from the corner bakery is camouflage. Apple, lattice crust like Mom's recipe. We played house for an hour. Small talk over coffee, her gushing about nesting, me nodding like the dutiful ghost. Then, as Chad stepped out for a call, I slid the flash drive across the island. Round 2. Read it. All of it. Her eyes narrowed. That flip again. Charm to ice in a heartbeat. What is this, Claire? Blackmail? After everything you've stolen. Voice low, steady. I laid it out. The ledgers, the liens, the texts. Her face cycled. Shock, denial, fury. You think you're the martyr? I built something. You're stuck here, nursing strangers while you lied. To them. To me. That professor? The debt? I covered it all. And this? I tapped the drive. This is you covering your ass with Dad's ghost. She laughed then, sharp as shattered glass. Dad knew. He approved. Said you were too soft, too. American dream for your own good. Always paying, never living. The words landed like hooks, twisting old wounds. Soft. I'd hardened into rebar for this family. The doorbell rang. Process server, right on cue. Audit notice, courtesy of my tip. Emily snatched the papers, color draining. You bitch. This is war. Already is, I whispered, grabbing my coat. Outside, thunder cracked, mirroring the split. As I peeled out, rear view catching her silhouette in the door, phone to ear, already scheming, I felt the first real spark. Not rage. Power. But power's a double-edged blade, and Emily? She wielded switchblades. The audit hit like a freight train through Terminal Tower, slow rumble building to a screeching halt that shook Emily's empire. By Friday, her LinkedIn pulsed with exciting transitions, code for damage control, while Chad's posts went radio silent. That golden retriever grin swapped for vague sunset selfies. I kept my distance, clocking shifts at the ER where gunshot grazes and opioid ODs blurred into white noise, each suture a stitch in my unraveling plan. But sleep? That traitor came in fragments, haunted by Mom's voice on loop. Strong one. Emily struck first, of course, cunning as a fox in a henhouse fire. Saturday morning, my super buzzed up. Package for ya, Claire. From Cali. No sender, just a sleek box tied with silk. Inside, the family photo album, pages gutted, my childhood Polaroids replaced with printouts, screenshots of my bank statements, redlined with irregular transfers. A note in her script. Your payments? Look closer. We all have secrets. Heart slamming like a code blue, I cross-referenced on my laptop, the one with stickers peeling from nursing school. There, subtle, but damning. $200 here, $300 there, routed through a joint account I'd forgotten, back when we were team sisters post-divorce. I'd funneled her startup seed money, off books, because family. She'd twisted it into embezzlement, framing me as the leech. Flip 1. From victim to villain, my own noose. Panic clawed, but I breathed it down. Years of trauma Bay's teaching you to tree off. Called my guy from the mill, voice steady, deeper dig. On her. By noon, emails pinged. Emily's incorporation docs for the app, buried clauses showing she'd pledged the family home as collateral years ago, without a whisper to mom or dad. And the kicker, her anonymous donation to their condo fund? Backdated checks from my mortgage wires, rerouted through a shell LLC. She'd been puppeteering the whole show, strings invisible till I yanked. That afternoon, I drove to the lakefront, wind whipping off eerie like accusations. Sat on the pier where Dad taught us to fish, hooks snagging minnows while he spun tales of steel boom glory. Claire girl, life's about the long game. Don't let the small fish bite. Small fish. Emily was a shark, circling since we shared a room, her dolls lined up like soldiers while mine gathered dust. I'd always covered. Her shoplifted lipstick at 12, the fake ID bust at 16. Thought it was love. Now, it reeked of leverage. Phone vibrated, Mom. Claire, Emily's beside herself. Says you reported them? To the IRS? After all, we've. Mom. Cut soft, but firm. Did you know? About the liens. Silence, thick as fog. Then, whisper. She said it was to help you. A surprise. Help me. The lie cracked something ancient, a fault line from girlhood promises. I hung up, tears mixing with spray, and texted Emily. Truce dinner. Neutral ground. Tomorrow. Her reply. Fine. But no games. Or I go public with yours. Sunday, we met at the old diner on Route 6. Formica counters scarred from decades of trucker regrets, coffee black as lake tar. She slid in opposite, no makeup armor, eyes puffy like she'd cried real tears for once. Claire, this ends. The house, the money, it's done. But if you push, I swear, your job, your reputation. I sipped Joe, burned my tongue on purpose, pain to ground. Push. You started this war. Skimmed from Dad's dementia meds fund. Pledged the house to your VC buddies while I paid the vig. Her fork stabbed salad, vinaigrette flying. You don't get it. I was building us out. You, with your scrubs and sad apartment, stagnant. I did it for you too. That photo album. Proof you're no saint. We both played dirty. Flip 2. Empathy as weapon. Her voice cracking on us. Damn if it didn't tug. The old muscle memory of midnight confessions. Her head on my shoulder after nightmares. But I saw the tell. Her thumb tapping the table. Morse for calculation. Then confess, I said, sliding a recorder across. Tiny, clipped to my keychain. To Mom. To the feds. Clean slate. She snatched it, hurled it into her water glass. Fuck you. You're the one who covered the professor. Knew it could tank my career. You enabled this. Enabled. The word echoed, a mirror to my complicity. Had I? Forged paths for her escape. Buried bodies of bad choices. All in the name of sisterhood. The diner hummed oblivious. Waitress refilling mugs. Jukebox crooning Springsteen on Rust Belt anthems. Outside, snow flurried early, blanketing the parking lot in false peace. We parted with glares and talk-soons, but the fracture widened that night. Chad called, drunk, voice slurring over speaker. Claire? Em's losing it. Says you're gonna ruin us. What the hell? I paced my kitchen, linoleum peeling like old skin. Ruin? Ask her about the LLC, Chad. Or the texts to Eagle. Silence, then shit. I knew something was off, but family, you know. Family. Again. He hung up, and I pictured him, trust fund soft, blind to her machinations. By dawn, LinkedIn lit up. Chad's profile updated, exploring opportunities. Divorce buzz, courtesy of my breadcrumbs. Emily retaliated swift. Monday ER shift, whispers from the charge nurse. Heard you're in some family drama? HR flagged a complaint. Anonymous, of course. Her, painting me as unstable, erratic behavior from financial stress. I documented it all, forwarded to my union rep, but the seed was planted. Colleagues side-eyed. Lunch invites dried up. The betrayal metastasized, not just blood, but bone deep. Midweek, the twist gut punched. A letter from Dad's estate lawyer, forwarded post-transfer. Claire, per Harold's wishes, enclosed is your share. Check for $50,000, scribbled note in his shaky hand. Knew M needed push. You always stronger. Forgive. Forgive. He'd known about the schemes, the pledges, and green-lit it, betting on my spine to bend but not break. The strong won again. I cashed it, wired half to a lawyer for quiet title challenge, pocketed the rest for war chest. Confrontation 2. I showed at their condo uninvited. Moms, technically, but funded by ghosts. She answered in slippers, confusion clouding her eyes. Claire? Emily said you were busy. Busy burying truths, Mom. I pushed in, Dad's recliner empty, TV murmuring infomercials. Over tea. Herbal, weak as her resolve. I spilled. The ledgers, the lies. She clutched pearls, gasping. But she promised. Said you approved. Approved? Laughter escaped, hollow. Like the Yale essay? Or the professor payoff? Mom's face crumpled. A map of regrets. We thought. You were fine. Independent. Code for alone. We cried then. Ugly, snotty sobs that bridged no gaps, just widened them. She hugged me goodbye with think on it. But I saw the flip in her too. Loyalty to the prodigal, blood thicker than ink. Back in Cleveland, snow piling like unpaid debts, Emily escalated. Tuesday night, my door knock. Cops, badges gleaming under hall light. Ma'am, welfare check. Sister reported you. Suicidal. Suicidal. The word hung, weaponized vulnerability. I invited them in, calm as triage, showed meds log, shift schedule, the bourbon half empty but labeled. Tell Emily I'm peachy. Thriving, even. They left with nods, but the chill lingered. She was flipping the narrative. Me as the broken one, her as savior. Cunning, yes, but sloppy. Their body cams caught my poise, filed away for countersuit. Phase 3 brewed that week, the public peel. I leaked to the local rag, a freelancer pal from nursing forums, local tech stars family feud. House of Lies? Anonymous source, but details sharp. Liens, audits, the works. Wednesday edition hit stands, headlines screaming controversy. Emily's feed exploded, trolls calling her Valley Vulture, VCs ghosting. Chad filed papers by noon, citing irreconcilable deceptions. She called at 3 a.m., voice shattered. Claire, you win. Meet me. The house. Dawn. I agreed, heart pounding not fear, but something darker, vindication's edge. Drove through blackout streets, wipers slapping slush, radio static on ghost signals. The house loomed, porch light a lone beacon. She waited on the steps, bundled in Dad's old coat, face streaked. You destroyed me, she whispered as I approached. Everything. You built it on sand, Em. My sand. We talked till light cracked. Confessions spilling like confessions in a booth. Her. The professor was love, twisted, the schemes, desperation. Me. The covers, love's blindfold. Flip 3. Enemies to echoes, sisters mirrored in wreckage. But dawn brought the call. Mom. Ambulance sirens wailing. Your father. Stroke. It's bad. The fracture? It spiderwebbed the core. Dad clung to the hospital bed like a barnacle to a sinking freighter, monitors beeping a dirge in the sterile hum of Cleveland Clinic's ICU. Tubes snaked from his arms, feeding oxygen and regret. His eyes, milky now, flicking between us like he was arbitrating from the grave. Mom hovered, clutching rosary beads I'd bought her for Mother's Day, whispering Hail Marys that bounced off the linoleum. Emily and I stood sentinel on opposite sides, the bed a dim Z, air thick with unspoken indictments. He's stable, the doc murmured, clipboard shielding his pity. But the dementia, this might accelerate. Accelerate. As if time hadn't already lapped us, leaving husks in its wake. Emily shot me a glare, accusatory, pleading, then softened, hand on his. Daddy, we're here. We. The word chafed, but I mirrored her, fingers brushing his knuckles, calloused from hammers I never swung. Visiting hours blurred into triage mode, me decoding charts, her fetching coffee with performative grace. Whispers in the hall, nurses gossiping the family drama, the article's fallout rippling through staff Slack. By evening, Emily cornered me in the vending machine glow. Truce, Claire. For him. Drop the suit, the leaks. I'll deed the house back. Her eyes, desperate, but edged with that flip, the eternal pivot. I chewed a stale granola bar, chocolate bitter on my tongue. Truce? After the welfare call. The HR poison. She flinched, genuine. I panicked. You were gutting me. Chad's gone, funding dried. But Dad, he knew everything. The pledges? His idea. To teach you resilience. Said you babied us too long. Resilience. The myth they'd fed me since sandbox days. Claire the fixer. Emily the dreamer. I laughed low. Teach me? by letting you rob us blind. Her voice cracked. It wasn't robbery. Investment. For all of us. Lies, layered like onion skin, peeling to pulp. But Dad stirred then, rasping my name, Claire girl. And the fight deflated, oxygen-starved. We bunked at the house that night, uneasy allies. Air mattresses in the living room. Ghosts of Thanksgivings past haunting the walls. Turkey smells lingering. Dad's tool bench echoes. Emily cracked wine from the cellar I'd stocked. Cheap Merlot turning maudlin. Remember the fort? Backyard. Sheets and broomsticks. I nodded, glass cold. You cried when it collapsed. I rebuilt it. Silence stretched, wine warming the ache. She confessed in fits. The professor's coercion, her shame-fueled spiral. How Dad's advice twisted into complicity, his dementia a convenient veil. I thought I was saving us. From this, nothingness. Nothingness. Ohio's curse, steel ghosts and opioid hollows. I'd fought it with scrubs and overtime. She'd fled to code and capital, only to circle back predatory. My turn. The covers, the enablers. How I'd shouldered her sins to keep the fairy tale intact. Love's a debt, Em. You defaulted. Dawn brought decisions, controversial as a jury verdict. Dad rallied enough for discharge. Home hospice, my orchestration. Emily signed the deed reversal that morning. Notary in the kitchen where Mom once baked pies. It's yours, she said, pen trembling. But don't gloat. This breaks us all. The lawyers hashed contingencies. Audit paused. Suits shelved, for Dad's sake. But the twist lurked in the small print. Dad's will, unearthed by the stroke scare. Hidden codicil, penned lucid days. House split 60-40, my favor, but with strings, Emily's share vested only if she recommitted to family. Vague, litigious, a final flip from the patriarch. He played us both, cunning and frailty, betting we'd fracture or fuse. Mom flew up, landing in a whirlwind of floral perfumes and accusations. What have you girls done? Over pot roast I'd microwaved. She mediated. Tears and tirades. Emily sobbing. I tried. Me stone. Tried to take. Dad watched from his hospital bed in the den. Oxygen, mask muffling chuckles. Fool girls, he wheezed once, eyes twinkling. Always the long game. The climax crested that week. Snowstorm burying Cleveland in white silence. Reporters sniffed blood. National podcasters dubbing it sibling schism, American dream or nightmare. Forcing us into seclusion. Emily cracked first, mid-blizzard. Pacing the kitchen, phone clutched like a grenade. One call, Claire. To the VCs. I spin it. Personal growth sabbatical. We split the house equity, I rebuild. Equity. The word soured, my sweat, her schemes. No. It's mine now. Earn your own. Her face twisted, rage, then revelation. You think you're better? That check from Dad? I know you cashed it for lawyers. Hypocrite. Hypocrite. The mirror shattered. She'd flipped again, victim reborn, but I saw the ploy. Divide to conquer, pit me against Mom's guilt. I countered controversial, leaked the codicil anonymously, framing it as patriarch's poetic justice. Media frenzy peaked. Op-ed splitting. Tough love or toxic legacy? Readers picked sides. Twitter wars raging. Team Claire for the grinder, Team Emily for the innovator. No heroes, just husks. Me the vengeful drudge, her the opportunistic escapee. The tension coiled, dark as the storm, every decision a controversy. Forgive and fracture, or claim and condemn. Dad died on a Thursday, quiet as snowfall. Heart giving out Midwestern's rerun. We buried him in the plot I'd prepaid, frost crunching under heels. Mom's eulogy a patchwork of half-truths. Harold was complicated. Emily and I flanked her, arms linked brittle, truce tentative, betrayal scar tissue. The reading followed, lawyer's office stuffy with legalese. House to me. Outright. Twist. Emily's cut rerouted to a trust for Mom, with me as executor. Control. Absolute. But laced with oversight, annual audits, my signature on every dime. He trusted you, the lawyer said. Trusted. The final flip. Dad's revenge on us both, binding in bureaucracy. Emily bolted post-funeral, back to Valley, rebooting via Instagram lives on resilience retreats. Texts trickled, sorry. Maybe someday. I sold the house, flipped it for double, market hot on story potential, banked the windfall, Quit the ER for NP school. Mom wintered with me. Thawing slow. Confessions over cocoa. We favored her. To spare you the weight. Spare me. The weight I'd carried gladly, till it crushed. Ending. No tidy bow. Happy in hollow victory. Tragic in ties severed. I drive past the old place sometimes. New owner's lights warm. Wondering if revenge rebuilt or just raised. Readers debate. Was I avenger or architect of ache? Emily the villain or victim of our shared sins? In America's grind, maybe we're all just paying mortgages on ghosts. Some collect, some default. Me? I sleep sounder now, ledger balanced. But the hook lingers. Forgiveness a luxury or the real revenge?